more and more people are realizing that we don't have to work hard in order to succeed. It's been proven over and over again. How many people work hard and don't achieve the success that we desire?
Right.
It has been proven over and over again because we're missing that piece of the internal belief within ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Am I worthy to receive? So anyone listening to this right now, right? Whatever the vision is that you have in your life, whether it is better relationships, right? Whether it is more money or both, do you really believe within your heart that you deserve it?
Hey, I'm Tine, your pivot and pay strategist. I help Black women double their income by leveraging their existing skills. I am all about getting Black women paid, whether you're an employee or a business owner. And you're listening to the Getting Black Women Paid podcast. Let's go. Hey, friends. Today is a guest episode, and we are going to be talking all about desiring versus deserving, getting paid and experiencing abundance. And I cannot wait to bring out our guest. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, and then we're going to get right into it. Dr. Kathryn Tapper, affectionately known as Dr. KTap, is a concierge physician, wellness leadership coach, speaker, and author, devoted to helping high-achieving women lead with authenticity, clarity, and purpose from the inside out. As a bold and inspiring voice in the wellness space, she offers a refreshing, holistic approach that goes beyond surface solutions. Dr. KTap helps women eliminate the guesswork out of managing stress, self-doubt, and burnout, guiding them to rise above the chaos and step into leadership with greater ease, confidence, and resilience. With a rare ability to sense what's out of alignment, she empowers women to reconnect the fragmented parts of their lives and create space for true fulfillment, inner freedom, and unstoppable flow. I cannot wait to get into it, so let's do it right now. Please welcome Dr. KTap. All right. Well, welcome, Dr. KTap. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Tine, for having me. I'm so excited to get into our conversation.
Oh, me too. And I want to start with, because, the work that you do is so interesting. And so I'm selfishly, I want to know kind of where all that came from. So I want to start with your story. Can you share with us, how you arrived at this intersection of medicine, leadership, and abundance work?
Mm-hmm. So it's definitely been a journey. And I will say that, firstly, I've always looked at things in an integrative, holistic way. That's just how I was brought up in Jamaica by my mom. And, I've always wanted to be a physician. And one of the pivotal movements in my life that really allowed me to think even more differently in the world was experiencing my own diagnosis before becoming a physician. And it has taught me so much about not only how to take care of myself, but also how to take care of my patients and how to lead my life from a health and wellness perspective, and looking at health and wellness in a holistic way. So, when we think about health, we think about physical health, right? Over the past 5 to 10 years, I think the conversation around mental health has definitely increased over time, right?
Absolutely.
And it's important, and we're in the month of May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month too. So how appropriate. But also spiritual health, relational health, occupational health, looking at all of those different aspects of health and wellness is so important to look at for my patients and for my clients, because then I get a better picture of how they're really doing internally.
Yeah.
Right? And how they're able to live with a good quality of life. And if they're not, then giving them the steps to get there. So that has been a pivotal part, is really leading my life differently with a diagnosis. And then also observing the people around me, especially us as Black women.
Yes.
You know, we struggle a lot. We have to show up so much more in society, which then causes that stress and that burnout, which then can lead to chronic illness down the road, right? So really observing how we are affected so much by that and saying, okay, I have learned a lot within my life that I can teach. I am living how I can help other people, and allowing them to lead their lives from within so that they can show up in the world differently is really the bottom line. Showing up with ease, showing up in alignment, showing up with that calm connection and confidence is what I help women to do. And as you can see, I'm passionate about it.
Absolutely. Well, and you are speaking my language. When you start talking about ease and alignment, yes, all of those things, please. And I love that you take your work specifically to relate to how Black women approach the world and how things impact us specifically. And you talk about helping women lead from the inside out. And I'm so struck by that phrase. And so I want to know, like, what does that look like in your journey? Was there a moment that you had to reconnect with your own inner sense of worthiness?
Yes, and it continues. It's one of those things that it's a process that never ends. It's just a different level of worthiness. And when you realize that showing up more, or doing more, I should say, doing more is not the full picture of experiencing success and abundance. That's a part of it. But doing more to what extent, right? If you're doing more without feeling worthy within yourself, there's that misalignment there, that there's that disconnection there. So once I realized that I needed to turn within, turn to higher power, turn to God, and trust more. That was a big part for me, because I used to experience anxiety. When I just spoke, generally speaking. If it was my friends, maybe not as much anxiety. But going through residency and medical school, it was very difficult for me because we had to do a lot of presentations. And I had this moment where, why am I feeling so anxious when I have to present? I have the knowledge, but what is going on with that execution? And I realized I did not have enough confidence within myself, and then realized that it was rooted in a lack of trust. And when I realized that and began making shifts, game changer, Tine. Game changer in my life.
I love the way that you connect confidence to trust, right? Because so much of it comes down to that. Do you trust yourself? And do you believe that you deserve the good things, right? I've heard you say, just in our past conversations, that, you don't get what you want, you get what you believe you deserve. And I'm wondering if you can unpack that a bit for us. What's the difference between wanting more and feeling worthy of more?
Sometimes you put them and package them together, right? And thinking that if we desire something, that we forget the second part, which is the deserving piece. And if we want something, we have to show up and we have to believe in ourselves to receive it. If we don't believe that we're worthy to receive, we're going to be doing more of that hard work, right? Because that's what we've been conditioned to do.
Absolutely. That hustle, the grind.
Hustle and the grind.
You got to work twice as hard to get half as much. So many of us have been taught that it's ingrained. And
Exactly.
so, it does sound like that Black women in particular struggle with that shift from desire to deserving.
Yes.
And
And I believe, sorry to interrupt you,
no, please.
but I believe that that is just rooted from back in slavery, right? We had to work hard to prove ourselves,
Right.
right? And so we have continued on that path up until now. But
Mm.
I see that more and more people are realizing that we don't have to work hard in order to succeed. It's been proven over and over again. How many people work hard and don't achieve the success that we desire?
Right.
It has been proven over and over again because we're missing that piece of the internal belief within ourselves.
Mm.
Am I worthy to receive? So anyone listening to this right now, right? Whatever the vision is that you have in your life, whether it is better relationships, right? Whether it is more money or both, do you really believe within your heart that you deserve it?
I want to sit with that for a moment, because it is that, do you really believe that you deserve those things you want? And that belief, I think, needs to come from a sense of inner abundance, right?
It is.
And
Yeah.
so I'm wondering, for someone who might be operating from a place of scarcity, right? What are the things that you can suggest to them to be able to cultivate that sense of abundance, that sense of inner worthiness?
Mm-hmm. One of the first things that's important is to understand and know what current beliefs you have now,
Mm-hmm.
because you will begin to unravel where that is coming from. Where did you learn that in the first place? For example, statements like money doesn't grow on trees, right? Yes, that's factual.
But what does that serve in our
Exactly.
lives?
What does that serve in
Mm-hmm.
our lives? And I will say that, when you look at the leaves on the trees, that should remind you of abundance.
Mm.
There's an abundance of leaves on that one tree, one mango tree. I have to put in the tropical coming from Jamaica, right?
Mm.
Think about the grass. If you have lawn space, there's an abundance of that there. There are things around you that you can remind yourself of abundance, the air that you're breathing. Do you ever stop to wonder, am I going to be able to take my next breath? No.
Mm. Oh, I love that analogy, right? That
Mm,
in general, we are not worried about where's my next breath of air going to come from,
mm,
because we know that there's an abundance of air, and that we have all that we need, and that we will need.
mm,
Oh, and that can be applied to so many other aspects of our lives.
mhm,
And so I'm wondering, I want to talk about kind of the sort of the self-sabotage that we can engage in.
mhm.
Um, how do you see, in particular, Black women
Yes.
sort of unknowingly blocking their own abundance, right? And what would be the first steps for unblocking it?
Mhm. Yes, we do that all the time. A great example of that is, if you have a business, you undercharge or you overgive, right? It's
Mm.
almost like you're overcompensating, right? The question to ask is why, right? Like, why are you undercharging, or why are you overgiving? Is it to prove your worthiness
Mm.
when you overgive? Is it because you don't feel that you're worthy that you undercharge, right? That is a process. And that takes me into the point of what I'd mentioned before is knowing what those limiting beliefs are like. What are the actions that are tied to scarcity, right?
Mm.
And then what are the beliefs that are tied to those actions? Because it's not until we know where we currently stand can we then move on to point B.
Mm.
So if we have a vision of just achieving more love, right? More prosperity, a bigger home, a nicer car, being able to provide food on the table, right? Education for our children,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then we have to then show up differently.
Yeah.
And that means we have to think differently. So then what are those limiting beliefs? One of the things that I do in my coaching program, like in week 1 or 2, is identifying those limiting beliefs
Yeah.
and then allowing the clients to shift them into affirmations that they believe.
Mm.
So it's personal and it resonates with them,
Right.
right? Which is different from seeing something on social media and just reading it. It might resonate with you, but what happens if it doesn't?
Right.
Because we have to rewire our brain. Scientifically proven. It's called neuroplasticity, right?
See, that's why we get the doctor to come in here. Absolutely. and
Mhm.
and I love that you kind of address both ends of it, right? We identify the limiting beliefs that are specific to you,
Mm,
and then we flip those on their head to turn them into affirmations so that we can retrain our brain
exactly.
and retrain ourselves to lean into that abundance. And one thing you touched on that I don't hear people talk about is you did say undercharging. We talk about undercharging all the time, but then you said or overgiving.
Mm,
And that is so often the thing we go towards, right? Oh, I don't want to undercharge, so I'm going to set this price. But I still don't believe that that should be the price. So now I'm going to over deliver to
mhm.
compensate for, whatever that sense of worthiness is holding us back. So I love that you address kind of both sides of that coin, because so many of us think the solution to not undercharging is, okay, I'll raise the price and
Right.
then I'll deliver 10 times as much.
Exactly.
And it's like, then did you really raise the price, or did you
Right.
did you just raise your commitment now?
Exactly. And I'm happy you
Mm.
said commitment because for those viewers who don't necessarily have a business, you can also see this when we overdo, right? We have
Yeah.
put a lot of commitments, like you mentioned, on our plate, and we know we don't have the bandwidth for it.
Mm.
We suffer the consequences when we don't realize, oh, I should not have taken this responsibility on.
Yeah.
I should have asked for help, which is something difficult that we
Mm.
that we struggle with as
Yeah.
well. You know.
Oh, and I want to bring that back to our career folks as well who are
Mm.
working in corporate. I think so often a lot of those unpromotable tasks end up on our plates, right?
Yes.
I once was on a software engineering team, and there were two women on the team. And I just decided one day, I was like, the next time we're delegating a task by being like, who wants to do it? I'm not going to say anything. I'm just not going to say anything. I will sit here in the uncomfortable silence.
Mm-hmm.
But then I felt terrible because the other woman ended up doing all of those things because we are so conditioned,
Yeah.
right? When someone says this thing needs to be done,
Yeah.
well, who's going to document that? Who's going to schedule the meeting? Who's going to do all these administrative tasks
Mm.
that nobody's going to notice you did? No one's going to promote you for, but we feel awkward not volunteering.
Exactly. That's that overgiving. That's
Yeah.
that overgiving at the expense of time, energy. Now, if you're guided to do it, that's a different story. But if you
Sure.
feel that you're doing it because you feel you
Hmm.
need to then show your worth,
Yeah.
right?
And it was painful. I experienced pain sitting in that silence. I
Mm-hmm.
was wanted to say
Mm-hmm.
something, and I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't believe um how much it had become part of my nature
Yeah.
to jump in and fill that silence and say, I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me of what you were talking about with that neuroplasticity, right? We need to train ourselves. We need to unlearn and retrain to go against those initial instincts
Yes.
that have been ingrained from generations of
Mm-hmm.
trauma and all the rest. I
Mm-hmm.
just I love how you look at this work and how you and how you break it down for those of us that have been living it, right? And I think specifically, I know you mentioned that you work with high achieving women,
Mm-hmm.
and I think so many of us can relate to that achievement turning into burnout very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, how does burnout show up as a symptom of our unworthiness or our misalignment?
Mm. Can you answer that one? It's on you.
I mean, well, so my theory, I want to ask the doctor, for perspective, but my theory is
Yes,
that it really is that compensating
it is.
for the lack of self-belief, of self-worthiness, right?
Yes,
That in order to be here, in order to have a seat at the table, I need to be doing twice as much as everybody else.
yes, yes. And so the burnout can show up in so many different ways, and we don't realize the effects that it's having on us
Mm-hmm.
until it shows up in a really bad way. Because as human beings, we don't really move unless there's a crisis.
Mm.
We don't. That's again the way our brain is wired. This is why we have to be so intentional
Mm.
and
Mm-hmm.
very mindful of how we show up, the thoughts that we think, and what we do.
Yeah.
For example, simple things such as fatigue, right? Headache, right? And all the other physical things, but also the burnout shows up in other aspects of your life, your relationships with your children, your spouse,
Mm-hmm.
how productive you are in the work that you're doing. So, right, you're overdoing the work, right? You're doing
Mm-hmm.
too much, which is not making you productive, right? So it's being
Mm.
counterproductive because you're doing too much, because you don't have enough energy. You're not focused enough
Mm.
to actually execute the work the way you desire to.
Yeah, it's counterintuitive, right? The more you do, the less productive you are.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and
So,
I wonder for those who are listening to this and are just overwhelmed, right? Are, really feeling stuck in that survival mode, and all of this sounds really big. I'm gonna, completely shift my mindset in a day. That doesn't work, right? So, so for those who are saying, how do I start?
yeah.
What's one, small daily practice they
Mm,
can do to, to start to shift them towards that abundance and alignment?
I'm going to make it very simple for you.
I love simple. Yes.
It's something that we're already doing, and that's breathing.
Mm, say
We
more.
have a tool that God has given us. It's a resource God has given us, right? To show up in the world, and we're not using it to our fullest capacity.
Mm,
Our breath allows us to connect more within ourselves. We can use our breath to energize us. We can use our breath to calm our nervous system down.
mm,
And that kind of lets me think of the fact that you attract what you feel safe to receive. So if we're wanting more money, but we don't feel safe with financial order where we are. If we don't have financial order, we're not used to, checking our accounts. What's the relationship that you have with money right now? If you want to experience abundance, right? Monetary
mm.
abundance, then you have to feel safe. Sorry, it's not right. You have to feel safe with interacting with money,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Just the simple things. And so anyway, went off on a tangent, but to get back to the breath, right? When you breathe in for 4 and you exhale for 8, when you're exhaling longer than you're inhaling, you are tapping into your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest system. So that allows you to calm your nerves down in the moment.
Mm. See, I knew we were going to get into the science of it, and I love that.
Yes.
So if you're listening right now and you don't know where to start, breathe. In for 4, out
And
for 8.
do that. You can start with 5 times. Do that 5 times. Goal would be for 10 times. And this is what I'd recommend. I'd recommend you do this every morning. Not just in the times and spaces you need it. Like you really need it. You feel that you need it when you're really stressed, when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling angry. You definitely need it in those times. But what you want to do, again, retrain your brain. Actually, you're retraining your nervous system. Your central nervous system, which is your brain, and your peripheral nervous system, which is the rest of your entire body.
Oh, I love that. Right. And because, yes, we want to do that in the moments that we need it, but we also want to set that baseline, set that expectation that every day we are safe, we are open to these possibilities, and we're really training ourselves to be in that space more of the time.
Exactly.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And, for those who are listening and they want more, but they're still not sure they're allowed to have it, not sure they deserve it. If you could look our listeners in the eye and offer just one reminder in this moment, what would that be?
You're worthy. You're placed on this earth for a reason, because you are still here. So it's for you to tap into the truth of who you are and remember that God is the source of your supply. That is the true supply. Money is not your supply. God is the source. The money is the effect from the source. Money is the resource from the source. So if you can connect to the source, believe in the source, trust in the source, then everything else will unfold from the inside out. So when you're doing the doing in your work, remember where the doing is coming from. It's coming from what you are being, because we are human beings, not human doings.
Oh my goodness, I love that. I am stealing that and putting it in my pocket. We are human beings, not human doings. Absolutely. Oh, thank you so much for that, Dr. KTap. And I'm wondering, for our listeners, how can they stay connected with you and your work?
Yes, absolutely. So on social media, for example, Instagram, you can look me up at Dr. KTap. That's DRK Tap. And the same thing for LinkedIn and Facebook. You can look up Dr. KTap or my full name, Dr. Kathryn Tapper. Either one will work. Yes.
All right. And we'll link to those in the show notes as well. And I'm wondering, before we part ways, is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience?
Yes, so I'm excited. I came up with this a few months ago, courtesy of a wonderful person on this call. And it's called, I created the alignment audit. And I created it because I realized that in order to move towards our vision, again, we need to know where we're starting from, right? So are you aligned with receiving, right? Are you aligned in your relationships? So the alignment audit is a comprehensive audit of the different aspects of your life, so that by the end of this simple form, you'll realize what are the top 3 things that you feel misaligned in, so that you can then start there, because that's so important. You may
Absolutely.
think that there's certain, you may have goals and you're on that path right now, but is that really the most important thing? What are the things that you are missing that you're not thinking of? So this alignment audit allows you to go through everything, think of it in a holistic way, so that you can then formulate a plan, or change the plan or the vision that you have moving forward.
Wonderful. And I will give a shout out for the alignment audit, because as you sort of hinted, that I was part of the start of that, and actually went through the audit myself. And just the amount of clarity that it provides, and the way that it gets you thinking about the different aspects of your life that you wouldn't necessarily always prioritize, was just I'm trying to think of the right word for it. Foundational, really, in how to move forward in alignment. So you'll definitely want to check that out. How can folks get the audit for themselves?
So you can just email me at info@drktap.com, and I'll send over the fillable PDF for you to complete. And
Perfect.
if you want to have a chat after about going through, so that you can get even more clarity as to what to do next, then we can have that call as well.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I'll throw that into the show notes as well, so folks know where to find it. Dr. KTap, you are such a delight as always. And I just want to thank you again for taking the time to share with our audience, because the work you do is so crucial in not just getting paid, but getting any of the things that you want in your life. So I really appreciate you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me, Tine. We could talk so much longer, but I know we have to cut it short.
I know. Well, we'll have to do another one sometime.
Definitely welcome that.
Wonderful. Well, thanks again. And thank you to all of you for joining us as well. We'll see you in the next one. Hey, thanks for watching the Getting Black Women Paid podcast. If you enjoyed the conversation, make sure you like and subscribe. And remember to hit the notification bell so you can catch more episodes like this one. And join the conversation by leaving a comment below. Be sure to share this channel with the incredible Black women in your life, so we can continue getting Black women paid. All right, we'll see you in the next one.